The flower type that first debuted in Medarot 2 and has made his debut in Medarot S fairly recently, it is FLW01 Charged Seeds, with a kit of Beam, Double Heater Plant, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of Extra Magazine, which grants an additional head use and additional bonus to head stats while passively equipping the leg. Now, I'm going to be honest right from the start. I really do not like Charged Seeds for a number of reasons, both for competitive meta and for personal aesthetic, but in order to remain as biased as possible, I'm simply going to, as I have with other Robattle breakdowns up to this point and beyond, going to remain as objectively unbiased as possible so I can be the most honest and the most accommodating so I can at least explain what every bot does. But to simply break down Charged Seeds, Beam is an optic attribute attack, so it gets a ×2 damage bonus at 30% charge and a ×3 bonus at 100% charge, but it lacks pierce damage in trade of having the higher damage bonus. Heater Plant is a setup-based skill that will set a heater plant on the field, as the name implies, that simply will passively buff the all allies heat stat across the field, meaning that as you're running to the line, you'll be running noticeably faster than as you would without it. So kind of carrying up where he left off with that passive speed bonus that Charged Seeds used to have back in the day, but a little more modernized and a little easier to use outside of simply being a passive. With him being a multi-leg, it means that he has relatively decent coverage across most terrains, arguably the next best under Biped, but unfortunately that's about where his overall possibility of viability ends. He does not have a lot of high HP. He has no Metaphor Sustain to be able to keep that damage on his head going. No pierce damage on top of that, and he also has limited combat uses because his one form of attack also is a head part, meaning a limited number of charges. Even with the ability of Extra Magazine giving him an extra use, that still isn't enough necessarily to forgive his already very limited combat capable kit, and the fact that both his arms are redundant, so you can't use one and then use the other. Once you have that heater plant on the field, both arms basically become useless until the plant expires or is removed forcibly. So for these reasons stated above, I would have to rate Charged Seeds a pretty flat 1 out of 10. He has almost zero combat capability and really offers nothing to any kind of team that he might be on, either as mixed parts or as and especially as a pure set. And even with the leg ability of Extra Magazine, he's in the very low end compared to most other multi-legs, so he really is not going to have speed on his advantage either, even with the heater plant active. So if you are going to be looking for anything that he offers, it would definitely behoove you to look elsewhere first before considering Charged Seeds. But if in some rare occasion or situation where you are forced against your will in some cases to use Charged Seeds, I would have to rate him as a mixed parts score about 1.5 out of 10. So I'm not going to say, let me clarify for a moment, I'm not going to say that any of his skills are terrible, because on their own, each skill, Beam, Heater Plant, and Extra Magazine on multi-legs honestly can be pretty handy. But with his particular kit together, it's very redundant and it does not benefit itself or complement anyone else on the team. So if you are going to use anything on Charged Seeds at all, making use of an arm honestly will never hurt anybody. The legs possibly might have some use if there's no other multi-legs to use or if you find yourself running low on them. But across the board, Charged Seeds, as unique of an appearance as he has, is very overall unimpressive and not fit to be met on the battlefield at all.